if we have a problem and we need to solve using the computer. So first, given a problem, first we have to analyze what is the problem. Say for every problem we should have, at least we will have some inputs, right? So we will have some inputs, some outputs, and some instructions that we need to perform, some some task we need to do so that we will arrive at the output. So these things we need to first understand, and then we have to start a program, writing a problem. So how to do this analysis on this problem? So for this, in the C program, in any language you can consider. So first we need to do analysis. So how we can do this analysis? So we can do this by using a method called as algorithms, or a flowchart, or a pseudocode. So these are the three uh, uh, processing steps before we need to write a program. So before writing any program, first we should understand the problem by these methods. That is, one is algorithms, and that is flowchart, and then one is pseudocode. So by this, so once you write all this uh, algorithms and flowcharts and pseudocode, you will understand, okay, this is the problem and this is the inputs I should give to the problem, and this will be the output. So once you understand this, you can start writing a program. So how to write a program? So each programming language have some syntax and set of instructions that can be used. So using those set of instructions and syntax, you should code, and then after coding you should compile, and if there are no any errors, then you can start execute, you can run that particular program. So this is the procedure how you need to write a program. Okay, so once a problem is given, you need to do analysis. First you need to analyze it. So when I say analyze, you should know like what are its inputs, if any inputs are there, then what are the inputs for that particular problem, and what are the output, and what processing I need to do. Okay, so these things you should keep in mind. So for that, we'll start with an algorithm. How to write an algorithm? First you need to understand what is an algorithm, and why we need to use the algorithm, and how to use algorithm. Then similarly we will study about flowchart and pseudocode. Okay, fine, this much you understood.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if we have a problem, so first we'll try to write an algorithm of flowchart or pseudocode. Then after that, we'll try to write a program. Okay. So first you need to understand what do you mean by this algorithm. So algorithm definition is like a step-by-step method for solving a problem or doing a particular task. Okay. So what is an algorithm? An algorithm is a step-by-step method for solving a problem or doing a particular task. So whatever the algorithm you write, so it consisting of some simple English statements. Some simple English statements. We'll see some examples. Okay. So these algorithms will take some input. Okay, and it will give you some output. So this is how you need to write an algorithm. So what is an algorithm? An algorithm is a step-by-step procedure to solve a particular problem. Okay, step-by-step procedure to solve a particular problem. So how we will write this particular problem? So we will write by using simple English statements. So this algorithm takes some inputs and give you the desired outputs. Say we'll yeah, before going for example, so yeah, first I will go for the example, then I will discuss about these properties of algorithms. Okay, so suppose there is a problem given. So find the area of a circle of a radius r. So given this problem, so before start writing into the problem, so first we need to analyze this particular problem by using algorithm method. So first see, we need to find the area of a circle for a given radius r. Okay, So for this particular problem, I should have what is the input for this particular problem. So given I need to, the output will be area of circle, correct? So the output will be my area of circle. And for what will be this area of circle? This is for given radius. Okay. So the user will give me the radius. I need to compute the area of circle and give the output as area of the circle. This is what the problem given, right? So first you need to understand what is the input, what is the output, and then start writing the algorithm steps. So this is what it is mentioned here, right? So given a problem, first you check if there are any inputs to be given. Okay, so if inputs is given, first take the inputs and then do some particular task and then give the output. So in our problem, so the problem given is find the area of a circle for a given radius r. So the input will be radius r of the circle and output should be the area of the circle because that was the question asked, right? Understood this? Okay. So algorithm, what I said, algorithm is a step-by-step procedure to solve a particular problem. So what algorithm consisting of? Algorithm consists of simple English statements to solve a particular problem. So here, so the first step will be, so we will write the algorithm in stepwise. Okay, step 1, step 2, step 3. So for my given problem, so first, what is my first step? So first step will be my, I should read the radius r because I don't know what is the r. So the user has to give me the what is the radius r. If he gives the radius r, then I should compute the area of circle. So you know what is the formula of area of circle. So just write, so just we are calculating in the next step. Once we get the radius r, we will calculate the area of circle by using the formula, right? This is the formula for calculating the area of circle, that is pi r square, right? So the what we are doing, we are multiplying pi with 2 times of r, correct? So this we will get to area. So this arrow mark indicates assignment operation. Okay, so whatever the value we compute here, so this value will assign into the area. Okay, so we will get an area. So we need to print it. So because the user is asking find the area of a circle, so this is the area of a circle, so we are printing at the step 3. So print area. So we are printing what is the area of a circle for a given radius. So if a user gives area 5, a radius 5, then it will be calculated. In next execution, if he gives a radius equal to 10, so for that the program will execute. Correct now? You understood this? Yes, someone please answer.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how to write this algorithm? Okay, so we cannot start writing whatever you like. So there has to be some meaning whenever you write an algorithm. So there has to be some properties of algorithm. So what are the properties of algorithm? So first is finiteness. What do you mean by finiteness? So once I start writing the algorithms, so the algorithm has to end at a particular step, correct? It should not infinite. We cannot write infinite algorithms. So we should write a finite number of steps. So after finite number of steps, I should get the desired output. So this is one of the first properties of an algorithm. Okay, understood? So this is the first step. And second step is definiteness. What do you mean by definiteness? Is that, so if I'm writing any instruction, so say for example I'm calculating the area, so there is a definiteness. What do you mean by definiteness? Is there is no ambiguous in this instruction. So how to calculate, I know, I have specified clearly. That is pi multiplied by r multiplied by r. So I have an unambiguous instruction here. So there is no ambiguity, correct? So there have the second step is definiteness. So what do you mean by definiteness? So whenever I say definiteness, so it should be the steps should be precisely defined. So what that particular step has to do, so that has to be clearly mentioned, so that we call it as a definiteness. Okay, so each step should be unambiguous. That is the second property. And third one is input. So first we need to check. So for a given problem there might be some inputs to the algorithm. Okay, so first you need to uh, get the inputs. Okay, so this is another property. So whatever the inputs you required, so first you need to take the inputs. Then fourth property is output. So once you perform that particular task, so you should provide an output to the user, correct? So output should be like the output may be obtained in the middle, so intermediate results also we will get, and at the end we will get an output, that is end result. So this end result has to be given to the user. Okay, so these are the uh, these are the four properties. And fifth property is effectiveness. So what do you mean by effectiveness? So whatever the problem you have and you are writing a solution for that, so that should be completed within an finite amount of time, and also it should do whatever a problem is given. Say suppose if I'm giving find the area of circle, it should not calculate me what is the area of a rectangle, it should calculate the area of circle only. So that's what we call it as a effectiveness. So uh, it is a principle for doing exactly what the problem is given. So for any algorithm you write, so you should follow these steps. So what are the steps? One is finiteness, so it has to complete within a time. Then definiteness, then input, output, and effectiveness. So these five steps you need to check. Okay, so can you check? So this whatever the algorithm is given here, so it will follow all these properties, correct? So finiteness, okay, it will finish within the finite steps. Second is definiteness. Yes, there is no ambiguous in this instruction. Third, input. Yeah, we have some input, so we are getting input from the uh, reader, from the read. And we have output, so we are displaying the output. And effectiveness, yeah, whatever the problem is given, so we are finding that solution, correct? So whatever the algorithm you write, so you should follow these properties. Any doubts here up to here?
No, sir.
Okay,
No, sir.
so this is another example. Okay, this is another example to read two numbers and find their sum. So this is the given problem. What is the final output? The final output will be sum. And what are the inputs? So inputs are two numbers. So I need to read a two numbers. For that, I need to calculate sum. So inputs, and this is the expected output. So how to start a program? So for every algorithm, so here I have not mentioned, here it is not mentioned. So you can mention a step one and last steps to be start and end, so that you will understand, okay, this is the beginning of the algorithm and this is the end of the algorithm. Okay, you should start with the start and last step should be end. Okay, so start. So algorithm will start now. First step is read input of the first number. So whatever the first number that you want to give, first read it. Then after second step, then read the second number. So once you get the two numbers, you perform sum operation. So you add two numbers and put it into a sum and display the sum. So this is the algorithm for this given problem. So all the properties are there, all the 5 properties. Yes, all the 5 properties are there. Next, this is another example, like convert temperature Fahrenheit to Celsius. Okay, so what should be the input? So input should be, I need to read a temperature in Fahrenheit. Correct. So once I read this, I should the output should be in Celsius, temperature in Celsius. So this is the algorithm. So start, read a temperature in Fahrenheit, then calculate using the formula how the conversion Fahrenheit to Celsius, then print the Celsius. Okay. So this is a simple algorithms how to write. So we can write algorithms for different control structures. So we'll see what are the different control structures. So first one is sequence of steps. So these are the examples for the sequence of steps. So say for example, we are following the writing the algorithm in a sequence of steps, and at the end we will get the output. There are some type of algorithms where we require branching or looping. Okay, so branching, when I say branching, there is a selection of instructions. I will not execute all the steps that is specified in the algorithms. I will execute only some steps. I will not execute in sequence. I will skip some of the steps and I will go to the another step. So that's what we call it as a selection. And repetition, third is a loop algorithms, where control structures where some of the steps are repeatedly executed. Okay, some of the uh, steps are repeatedly executed. So these type of algorithms also we can write. So we can write algorithms with a combination of all these control structures. We'll see. Okay, first I will give an examples for branching, then I will give for looping. Okay, so this is an algorithm for branch instruction. Say what is the problem given? Write an algorithm to find greater number between two numbers. Okay, so I need to find a greater number among two numbers, right? So what will be my output? Yeah, what will be my output? My output will be whichever the number is greater. Okay, so I need to take what will be my input? My input will be two numbers. So I will take step 1 start. Step 2 will be read input A and B. So two numbers, I'm copying it in A and B. Okay, and so this is the branch instruction. What is this branch instructions? I will check whether A is greater than B, or I will check B is greater than C. B is greater than A. So my step 3 will be, I will check whether the first number is greater than second number. If so, I will put the value of A to the C. Okay, so C holds the greatest number among two. So if this is not true, okay, if this is not true, I will go to the step number 4. So if B is greater than A, so reverse of this. Okay, if B is greater than A, then I will put value C equal to B and print C. Suppose A is already greater than B, I need not execute this step 4. Directly I can go and print for the step 5, because I already found that A is greater than B. So that's what we call it as a branch instruction. So we are selecting some of the steps to be executed and some of the steps will not be executed. Fine. I will show you another example. Okay, I have not given another example. Okay, we'll see some other problems. You understood up to now what is the branching selection algorithms? Yes, someone answer. Akshay Kumar. Yeah,
Yes,
answer. Yeah, you understood what I'm talking about?
Sir, the question, please.
Have you understood what I'm explaining? What is
Yeah.
branching algorithms?
Yes.
Any doubt? Yeah, not Akshay. Anyone has any doubt? Okay, no doubt, I guess.
No, sir.
Okay, next. So this is about, okay, this is about the branching algorithm. Next, I will explain about looping algorithm. In the algorithms, we may have some looping instructions. So what do you mean by looping instructions? So some of the instructions will be repeatedly executed. Okay, some of the instructions will be repeatedly executed. So we'll see one example. So find an algorithm, write an algorithm to calculate even numbers between 0 and 99. So we need to find the only the even numbers between 0 and 99. Okay, so how to write an algorithm? So my first step will be start, and the second step should be I is initialized to 0, because it is in the question it is asked that between 0 and 99. Sir, I have, yeah. So in the question it is asked to find the even numbers between 0 and 99. So I should go from 0 up to 99. So that's the reason I'm initializing I to 0, because it is my starting number. And check, and step 3 is write I in a standard output. So I'm displaying this value of I. Then step 4 is, so it I need to find even numbers between 0 and 99, right? So what I will do, I'm adding 2 to the I, because I just printing only the even numbers. I'm just printing only the even numbers. That's what the question asked. So I'm calculating, I'm first what I'm doing, I'm initializing I to 0, and I'm putting it in the output. Okay, I will 0 will be displayed. Then I'm going to add plus 2, because after 0 the next even number will be 2, correct? So 2 I'm putting into I. So how I'm putting, so whatever the content of I was there, I'm adding plus 2 to it. So earlier 0 was there, so 0 plus 2, so it becomes 2. So I'm putting the 2 value to I. I'm checking, so this is the selection. Okay, what is this selection instruction? If I is less than or equal to 98, because the question is asked up to 99. Okay, so that's why I'm checking whether I is less than or equal to 98. So since I is 2 now, correct, at the first iteration I will be 2. So whether 2 is less than or equal to 98, no, correct. This condition is I is less than 98. Yes, it is true, because I is 2 and the value is 98. We are checking with the 98. Yes, it is less than. So then we will go to line number 3. So again, we will go to the line number 3 and we will execute this 3 and 4 step. Again, we will check in the fifth instruction whether I is less than or equal to 98. So if this is not this is true, then again we will go to the third step. So we will do this operation until I becomes greater than 98, right? So that time the condition becomes fail. So we'll go to the next step, and that is end. Then we'll stop the execution. So this is the algorithm using looping instruction. I hope you understood this. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Understood. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah. Okay. We'll go with the, yeah.
excuse me, sir. The
Yeah,
previous, yeah, this algorithm, we can
yeah,
start from 0 and then we can go on adding 1 until the
yeah,
required number, no, sir?
yeah. The question is asked even numbers. Why we are adding 2 is the question is asked even numbers. So if I add 0 to plus 2, if I add 0 plus 1, then I value becomes odd, correct? So that's why we are not adding 1, we are adding 2, so that we will get a even numbers between 0 and 99. This was the question you asked?
Yeah, yeah, sir.
Yeah. You got why we are adding 2, why not 1?
No, sir, I got it. Why we are adding 2? I just asked we can even add 1. Like, we can add 1, and even that's a possible case, no? Like, from 0 to n, you can
Yeah,
keep on adding 1.
keep on adding 1. Yeah, that is also, yeah. So finally, what I should, the output, for a given problem, you can write different codes, different algorithms. You may be having n number of logics. Okay, the logic may be different. Okay, but final output should be the same. So what should be the final output? It should be even numbers. See, you can take one, okay, and keep adding another one, so the value becomes 2. Then next time, you increment I value by 2, so that the value becomes 3. Then you add plus 1 to it, 4. So like that you can write different logics for writing even numbers. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir.
So what you are telling is, can we write the overall answer? What I'm giving you is, we can write different logics here. So you need not follow this logic to calculate even numbers between 0 and 99. You can you can have different logics. That is okay. But here what I'm explaining how to write an algorithms, and this is one example for the logic. Okay, you can follow different logics, but final output should be even numbers between 0 and 99. Okay,
Yes, sir.
fine. Okay, okay. So next we'll go with the another method called as flowchart. So the flowchart, whatever the algorithms we have written in a single step, in the English statements, we can represent that in a diagrammatical manner, using pictures, okay, using symbols. So um, what is the definition of a flowchart? So flowchart, we can say it as, can be defined as a pictorial representation of algorithm. So whatever the algorithm we write, we can depict that in a picture format, so that we call it as a flowchart. So for writing flowchart, you should have some symbols. So already we have certain symbols which are used for specific purpose. It is already defined. So what are the symbols we can use in the flowchart? So these are the symbols we can use in a flowchart. Okay. So first one is, uh, this is, what is this? For processing, yeah, this is rectangle, this is process, this is start terminal. Okay. Yeah, this is square. Huh? Okay. So this, what is this? This is rectangle. Okay. So this is the symbol that is used for the process. Okay. Say for example, I'm calculating a plus b. Okay. So that is one process. So in order to define that in a pictorial format, we use this symbol. Okay. So it indicates any type of internal operation inside the process. Say, as I told, if you are calculating some Fahrenheit to Celsius, we have some formula, right? So that is one internal operation. So that internal operation can be defined using this symbol. Okay, next is input output. So this is the symbol that is used for the input and output symbol. So say in the previous program we are reading two numbers. So in order to read two numbers we can use this particular symbol, and also for displaying the output we can use this particular symbol. So for this input we cannot use this symbol, you have to use only this symbol. And next one is decision. So this is the symbol for the decision. So it's a diagonal symbol. So it is used for making a decision. So say whether the number is greater than a or b. So a is greater than b, you put a question, so the answer will be either true or false, right? Yes or no. So I will show you how we can use this diagonal in the next algorithm, next flowchart. Then we have a connector. So this is used to uh, used for connecting one flowchart in one particular page to the next. Okay, and then predefined process. So these are used for invoking some subroutine, which you say, for example, if you are written some big program and that program is divided into subroutines. So this diagram is used for connecting to the another subroutine. So we'll see some examples for that. And this is the terminal. So this indicates the start and end of the program. And next, this arrow marks indicates the flow of data. So how the data is flow between from one symbol to the another symbol. We'll see one example, you will understand. So first algorithm plus flowchart is sum of two numbers. So we already calculated the algorithm, right? How to calculate the sum of algorithms. So first read input, okay, read input number one and number two, and do sum, and then print the sum. This is algorithm. So how we can represent in a flowchart using this algorithm? So we can represent like this. So first the step will be start, correct? So we require this symbol to start the algorithm flowchart. So this is the symbol. Okay, so this symbol will show you the start of the algorithm. And next, declare ABC. So declaring ABC is one process. So we require A, B, and C for holding the values. So A is for one value, B is for another value, and C is for the result. So that's why we are declaring this three values. Okay. Then read A and B, right? So for reading, we have to use this particular symbol. So once we read the symbol, we need to do addition. So this is the process symbol, correct? So this is the process symbol. So C equal to A plus B. So after calculating the value, we need to display the value of C. So again, we are using this symbol for printing the value, and at the end, we are ending the flowchart. So that's why this symbol. So this is how you need to write the flowchart. Fine, understood? So you need to know what symbol is used for what particular purpose. So I will show you another example. Say find the area of a circle of a radius. So how to do that? So start. So we will start the algorithm. Okay. So this is the symbol, and then read. So this is for input and output symbol, and then process it. So area is equal to 3.14 into r star r. So once you get this, so again you will, so this is the flow of algorithm. The arrow marks indicates the flow of algorithms. At the end, we will end it. Okay. So this is how you need to write an algorithm, this flowchart. Okay. Similarly, yeah, convert temperature Fahrenheit to Celsius. So start read f, then perform the operation using the process symbol, then print the symbol. So this is how you need to write a flowchart for a given problem. Okay. So this is a flowchart with respect to the branch instruction, that is selection algorithm. So algorithm for find the greater number between two numbers. So first we will start, we will read the A and B. Yeah, this is the diamond shape that we need to use for decision making. So if A is greater than B, so if A is greater than B, the answer should be either true or false. If it is true, then we will print A. Otherwise, after printing A, we will end the algorithm. Otherwise, if A is not less than B, if A is not greater than B, we'll go to the false. Correct. We will not print that time, print A. We'll go to the false and we will print B and stop the execution. So if A is greater than B, we will not execute this statement. We will execute only this statement and we will end. So this is how you need to write flowchart for a branch instruction. Okay. So next is using loop. So how you need to write. So how you need to write is check. So flowchart for the program printing even numbers between 9 and 100. Okay. So here it is 9. Okay, not 0. So start. So we are initializing I. So I to 10, because after 9 the first number is 10. So that's why we are initializing 10. So you can see that arrow mark after 10, it will go to right I. I'm displaying the value of I. So this is the symbol for printing. Correct. So write I. Then I'm writing I equal to I plus 2. So after 10, I will get 12. So I will check whether the I is less than or equal to 98, because the answer is asked up to 100, not less than or equal to 100. So up to 100. So I will not consider 100. So that's why I is less than or equal to 98. So if it is true, I will repeat these steps, and if it is false, then I will stop the execution. So if I is greater than 98, I will stop it. So no. So I will end the flowchart. So this is how you need to write a flowchart for a given problem. Understood? Yeah, I need answers. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And next, another method is writing a pseudocode. Okay. Another type is writing pseudocode. So it is the pseudocode. It is similar to the algorithm. So here only we will use some of the keywords along with the English statements. We will use some of the keywords. Say for example, we will for reading an input, we use this input A comma B, like that. It is similar to your algorithm, but we are using some keywords here. So this is to indicate we are taking some input, and this is to indicate we are giving the output, and this is while this while, for, and repeat until. These are all looping instruction. Okay, these are all looping instructions. And the last one is if then else. This is for decision making. So these are the keywords we are using along with the English phrases. So we'll see one example. So this is a pseudocode. So it looks like a program, but it is not a program, right? It is a pseudocode. So this is slightly different from the algorithm. So just see here. So instead of start, we are writing begin. So first we need numbers, right? So number s1 comma s2 comma sum. So these are the numbers that we are using for calculating the sum of two numbers, right? So my output will be input number. I will ask the user to enter the uh, in number 1. So that's why I'm writing output input number 1. So this will be displayed. So the user has to enter one number. So that will be input s1. So I am taking s1 as an input. Okay. Similarly, I will take the second number s2. Okay, and then I'm performing sum operation. So you can see here there is no assignment operation here. We are doing equal to. Okay, so this is the difference between algorithm and uh, pseudocode. So sum equal to S1 plus S2 and output sum, and we will end the program. So this is how you need to write pseudocode. Okay, so this is another example. Like you need to find the perimeter of area and perimeter of a given whatever the shape may be. Okay, so here what we are taking, we are inputting b1 and b2, and we are calculating area and perimeter. So input is b1. If we are taking two inputs, so input b1 and b2, and then we are calculating area, length into breadth. You can consider this length into breadth, so b1 into b2, and then perimeter we are calculating 2 star to b1 plus b2. Okay, then we are printing this value, area and perimeter. So this is how you need to write pseudocode. So this is an example for pseudocode for branch selection. So in the algorithm we used English statement. So you can see here we are using keywords. So begin, number. So these are the variables that we are using, a b c d, x1 and x2. So we need to we are evaluating this equation. Okay, and so what we are doing, uh, so we are calculating the value. So d equal to b square minus 4ac, and if this is true, if d is greater than 0, we will execute these statements. Or if d is not greater than 0, then if d is equal to 0, we will execute this statement. So either these statements will be executed, or these statements will be executed, or this statement will be executed. So not the in sequence, only some of the instructions will be executed depending upon the value of d. So if d is greater than 0, then we will execute only this instruction and we will stop. We will not execute this. If d is equal to 0, we will not execute this because d is equal to 0. So we will execute only these statements. And if d is less than 0, okay, if d is less than 0, then we will not execute these statements. These statements we will execute only these statements. That is, there is no real root. So this is how you need to write a pseudocode for a branch instructions. Okay, so next is loop. So this is an example. So begin. So we'll start. So what is the problem given here? Find sum of natural numbers between 1 to 100. So we are initializing the sum equal to 0. So initially the sum, we will consider it as a 0, and we have to start adding between from 1 to 100. So we have to repeat the sum instructions. We'll see here for counter I equal to 100, from 1 to 100 we need to do this instructions. So what is the instruction? Sum equal to sum plus counter. So sum initially is 0 and counter is initialized to 1. So at the first iteration, sum equal to sum plus counter, that is 0 plus 1. So again, whatever the result, we are adding into sum. Again, we will do this operation up to counter reaches to 100. Once the counter reaches to 100, we will stop the execution. Otherwise, we will execute the same this instruction that many number of times. Fine? Understood? Yeah, please answer. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is how you need to write pseudocode. So I have, in today's class, I explained how to write algorithms, how to write flowchart, and how to write pseudocodes. So you can practice, you can write these things. You can write algorithms or a flowchart or a pseudocode for these problems. And you can, if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Okay. So first is find area of a circle. So you should know what is the formula to calculate that. And then finding the area of a rectangle, area of right angled triangle, swapping of two numbers, simple interest, and check whether given number is a positive or not, or a negative. So if you do this, then you will understand how to write algorithm, flowchart, and pseudocode. Okay, fine. Please note down this. So just write a flowchart, algorithm, and pseudocode for these problems. Area, rectangle, right angle, triangle, swapping of two numbers, simple interest, and checking whether the number is positive or negative. Fine. So you should be able to write flowchart, algorithm, pseudocode for these problems. Fine. One second, I will take the attendance. Any doubts